It's safe to say Stranger Things is easily one of the best Netflix series of all time, but that doesn't mean the show hasn't seen its fair share of terrible episodes. There are a couple of episodes from the series that fans think missed the mark, and in today's video, we'll go over some of the worst rated episodes from Stranger Things according to IMDb. So let's dive right in. Starting at number 10, it's The Case of the Missing Lifeguard. This is the third episode from season 3 and currently has a rating of 8.3 on IMDb. You might be wondering, hey, that's not too bad. But the truth is that for a show like Stranger Things, which generally has very highly rated episodes, even an 8.3 isn't exactly great. So what went wrong with this episode? Well, this is the episode where Elle and Max go out looking for Billy. Steve and Dustin, on the other hand, go on a stakeout, while Joyce and Hopper return to Hawkins' lab. The episode has earned its position among the worst of the series, not because of any glaring issues, but because it's just an overall disappointment. This episode suffers from an issue that most of the first half of season 3 has, which is that it's just painfully slow and uneventful. The season definitely took its time to get started, and some of the earlier episodes, like The Case of the Missing Lifeguard, suffered from the slower pace, and ultimately found their way into most people's worst Stranger Things episodes lists. Moving on to number 9, it's Trick or Treat Freak. This is the second episode from the second season, and it's tied with the previous episode for that 8.3 rating. In this episode, Nancy deals with the truth about Barb, while Mike wonders if Eleven may still be out there. Much like some of the other episodes from the start of Stranger Things seasons, this one suffers from pacing issues. Fans felt like the episode drags quite a lot, mostly because it's setting up character development and future plot points. While all that stuff is definitely necessary, seeing some plot building happening alongside it would have helped to make this episode feel a bit more impactful. Again, it's not the worst episode out there, but definitely one that you won't find people mentioning as their favorite. Next at number 8, it's The Monster and the Superhero. This is the first episode from season 4 to grace our list. The third episode from the fourth season has a rating of 8.3 and revolves around Elle facing some serious consequences for her actions, while Murray and Joyce fly to Alaska. Meanwhile, back at Hawkins, Robin and Nancy work together as a duo to dig up some dirt on the demons that have been haunting the town. The episode is generally liked by fans, but there were some issues with how some of the plot points were handled. Fans on IMDb felt like the series didn't really portray how the military operates realistically. A reviewer noted that a mission like capturing Elle would never fall under the purview of the military. Instead, the FBI or NSA would probably be involved in it. Another fan noted that it was weird that the military was after Elle after seeing just one body show up, even though that's not even the way Elle used her powers to kill people in the past. Up ahead at number 7, it's Mad Max. Mad Max was our introduction to season 2. Much like the starting parts of other seasons, fans felt like the episode didn't really give much to chew on. The build-up was quite slow, and some people felt like almost nothing happened. Sure, Will got some visions, but there wasn't anything significant in the storyline, besides the appearance of Elle right at the end of the episode. It's a good thing that Netflix streams all the episodes at once. Can you imagine getting hyped for a season premiere and realizing you got to see almost nothing from it? At the number 6 spot, it's The Nina Project. The Nina Project is the 5th episode of the season. In this episode, we see Owens take Elle to Nevada, where she has to deal with her past. Meanwhile, back at Hawkins, the kids work together to search for clues about Vecna. Fans generally enjoyed this episode, but felt like it didn't live up to the hype generated by the previous one. Much of the episode is bogged down by the Hopper, Joyce, and Murray storyline, which felt a bit too unrealistic. They fly a plane into Soviet airspace without showing up on any kind of radar or being asked by a flight tower. All of it felt just a bit too contrived, which is probably why the episode has a relatively poor rating. People also felt like the scenes of Eleven's past dragged on for a bit too long and weren't all that entertaining. Moving on to our number 5 spot, it's Vecna's Curse. Another season 4 episode? Did anyone like this season? Vecna's Curse is the second episode of the 4th season. Mike goes to California to visit Elle and Will, and in Hawkins, a dead body is discovered, which leads to a lot of chaos in the town. Fans felt like the episode dedicated too much time to the bully trope, which is often seen in a lot of movies and TV shows. It just felt a bit repetitive, because it wasn't done in a way that could have been interesting or unique. Most shows set in the 80s have to make a huge point about bullying, but ironically, they all repeat the same points and never do anything clever with it. The trope would have been fine if it didn't drag on for a third of the episode. Next, at number 4, it's the Hellfire Club. With a rating of 8.1, the Hellfire Club is another somewhat disappointing episode of Stranger Things. While the episode was generally liked by fans, some people felt like the starting was a bit rocky. Like most other premiere episodes of the series, fans felt like sitting through an hour of high school drama to finally get a glimpse of the monster was just too much to bear. Most of the episode builds character dynamics and takes things slowly. Plus, while a lot of people found Vecna's method of killing quite gruesome and interesting, some fans felt like it was a bit too over the top. It was a bit too jarring and different from the other monsters we'd been introduced to by that point. Taking up the number 3 spot, it's the Mallrats. This is the second episode of the 3rd season and features Nancy and Jonathan working together on a lead, while Steve and Robin sign in on a secret mission. This episode probably best sums up all the issues with the start of the 3rd season, and that's why it has a rating of 7.9. It's way too slow, drags on, and only gives people a hint of the fun that's coming. Most of the threats didn't feel like they were scary at all. Some reviewers on IMDb stated that so far, all that the show had going for it were evil Russians, exploding rats, and non-functioning magnets. That's just not scary. The episode also focused a lot on the coming-of-age stuff, which, while necessary, did feel a bit tiring to sit through. Overall, it's just a slow episode where not much is going on, which is why it's so high up on the list of the worst Stranger Things episodes. Now at number 2, it's Susie, Do You Copy? With a rating of 7.8, this is yet another Season 3 episode that missed the mark. The premiere of the 3rd season showcases our cast doing new summer jobs and taking part in budding romances. The episode had some weird writing at parts, especially with the characterization of some of the main characters. Fans felt like they weren't really acting like themselves here. The episode also does a poor job of hooking people in and giving them enough stuff to get excited for. Plus, fans also felt like the 80s pop culture references were a bit too heavy-handed, and while it might be nostalgic for people who lived through that era, for most viewers, it was just needless pandering. Finally, the number 1 spot goes to The Lost Sister. You probably knew this episode was going to top our list. You could ask just about anyone what their least favorite episode of Stranger Things is, and they'll probably all give you the same answer: The Lost Sister. This is the 7th episode of the 2nd season, and currently has a rating of 6.1 on IMDb, the lowest of the entire show. In this episode, we see Eleven join up with a band of outcasts and a girl who also has powers similar to hers. The episode felt like it was filler, and it's made worse by its placement in the season. The last episode left us on an immense high, and then we're met with this episode that completely takes us away from the story to give us a weird X-Men plot that no one wanted. Unlike other episodes that might have some redeeming qualities, many agree that this was a train wreck from start to finish. That's a wrap for this video. Which of these Stranger Things episodes did you think was the worst? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.